guys, welcome to That Florida Feeling. How is everybody this week? Hope y'all are good. Thank you to everybody who's interacted with all the social media, all the Facebook pages and groups, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok pages. You guys are awesome. I'm surprised y'all are awake half the time when I do TikTok lives. And then I love it because on the TikTok lives, it's half the time it's people from Florida. So then we all start talking about different places in Florida. Usually evolves into talking about food, which totally okay with. So you guys are awesome. I can't thank you enough for just being on there, being there, sharing, liking, and then also for the podcast, helping make it successful. I know I probably say that every time, but I really, really want to say thanks. So I haven't done a lot of Wednesday polls and questions. I'm going to try and get back to that. I know. I'm slacking because life happened, and I'm sorry. But I do love learning about you guys, and so we're going to get back to that. I'm probably going to post one here in a minute because I'm recording this on a Wednesday. It's actually a super stormy Wednesday here. Thank you to everybody who has liked, subscribed, and followed. If this is your first time listening, don't forget to do that so you can continue to find me. I do have a ton of episodes in my podcast library, so if you are looking for a certain topic on Florida, I might have talked about it in the last 3 years because we're in year. We've been here for 3 years. I don't know how that works. Whatever. We celebrated our third year. But check out the other episodes. I do weekly episodes, so I might have already talked about it, which I love that you guys reach out about those episodes because I did get an email from a lovely person, and they asked me to talk about Marion County. So that's going to be one of our upcoming episodes. You guys can email me about topics, and I love that you guys do that. If you want to do that, it's thatfloridafeel@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out because they requested Marion County and some of the equestrian stuff, and we're going to talk about that. And I love that they reached out about that. They saw that I had done the Ocala National Forest and then requested another part of it, and I think that's great. So if you went back through my podcast library and you see that I didn't touch on a certain part of a topic, reach out and say, hey, I want to learn more about blank, and I would love to research it for you guys. In fact, a couple of my upcoming topics are because some of you have reached out and said, hey, have you learned anything about this? And some of the stuff I hadn't, and it's been very interesting to me. So I really appreciate you guys doing that. I'm also extremely happy that you guys reach out just in general. So thank you so much. Just saying hi makes my day. So today I'm going to talk about an interesting topic. I find it interesting. And everybody found it interesting a few years ago. I know I've missed the mark, but I wasn't doing the podcast when this was a big thing. So we're going to travel back in time a little bit. Act like it's 2020 again. Actually, no, 2020 was a bad year. So let's not act like that. But you're going to know what I'm talking about as soon as I tell you. We're going to talk about Big Cat Rescue out of Tampa and its founder, Carole Baskin. That's right. Carole Baskin, the same one who rose to fame thanks to the Tiger King himself, who is also here in Florida. So what is Big Cat Rescue? I mean, we kind of learned about it on Tiger King. We know that Carole Baskin is the founder and that she rescues cats. But what is it? What did it start as? What was its concept? And where is it now? Because I always found it really interesting. I know that a couple of like other animal rescue people that I follow, because I'm big into animal rescue. Like I have 3 fur babies, and if you've ever seen my TikTok live, you've seen them. Or if you've seen my Instagram, that Florida Feeling Instagram, you've seen that they make appearances. You've even heard them on some of these episodes when they like to guest spot in the background. So I'm big into animal rescue. I think it's great when they do adoption events, and I like to push those, especially obviously my local ones and other ones in Florida. And so it's really interesting to see that some of the people in Florida have also worked at Big Cat Rescue and to hear what they've said about it. So I decided that I wanted to do this episode about it. So what is Big Cat Rescue? Well, Big Cat Rescue Corp, or BCR, as it was once known, was actually started as Wildlife on Easy Street, which is a really insane name to me. And it operates out of Hillsborough County, Florida, which is Tampa. The rescue is an animal sanctuary that rescues and homes exotic cats and rehabilitates injured or orphaned native wild cats. The rescue was founded by Don Lewis and Carole Baskin in 1995. Now, the animal sanctuary was actually open to the public until COVID, and it used to sell tickets for tours and other kind of events. But after COVID, Baskin made the decision to not reopen it for tours. You actually can't even visit it today; like it's closed. There is still a gift shop that you can visit, and you can buy stuff online. The foundation has been home to between 66 all the way down to 51 animals in the past. The most was 66, the lowest was 51. And it is accredited by the Global Foundation of Animal Sanctuaries since 2009. And it has received a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator from 2007 to 2022. So we know who started it, but why did it start? Why would you just randomly start a big cat rescue out of nowhere? Usually there's a backstory, and this one does have a pretty good backstory. It's pretty interesting, actually. So in 1992, Don Lewis, and then known as Carole Lewis, came into possession of a bobcat. Don't know how. Don't know if the cat distribution system walked them to a bobcat or a bobcat walked up on them. But they came into possession of a bobcat, which is seems pretty rare to me. The following year, they acquired more, and in 1995, they began and incorporated wildlife on Easy Street. The reason it's named that is because they started this place on Easy Street in Tampa, Florida. They started it as a not-for-profit corporation with the state, and the purpose of it was acquisition, shelter, feeding, breeding. Remember this breeding part. Breeding and socialization of exotic and non-exotic animals, public education and awareness to benefit their wild counterparts. Because if you start a nonprofit or a not-for-profit, you have to have a reason, and that was their reason. In 2003, Wildlife on Easy Street was dissolved and merged into the newly created nonprofit, officially nonprofit, Big Cat Rescue Corp, with the newly stated purpose: prevention of cruelty to animals by providing rescue and permanent retirement homes to exotic cats. Notice that breeding is now gone. The place became a sanctuary that actually featured a bed and breakfast experience. Okay, let's stop there for a second. These people opened a sanctuary for exotic cats and featured a bed and breakfast. I cannot say this today, you guys. Bed and breakfast experience with cats. Not like your normal meow meow house cats. And some house cats are considered exotic. Like I have a Bengal. That's considered exotic. Servals are considered exotic. If you own either of these, you already know or you have seen. Some feature raw food diets. Like you have to feed them actual like meat. Or if you have a Bengal, it goes crazy. It likes to talk. It will yell. It can hurt you. It has the energy of a child. And they were going to feature a bed and breakfast that allowed guests to spend the night with a young wild cat in their cabin. I have so many problems with this, like just right from the start. So they wanted to prevent cruelty, but they're going to use this little baby cub to make money as an experience for people. But you're not for profit. No, not for profit. Jackasses. So to me, that's just a whole huge problem right there. I just see so many things. I mean, what also prevents someone from just walking out with the cub? Like, oh, I have a bobcat baby. I think I want to take this home. Really? Like, also, they have claws and sharp teeth. Regular cats have claws and sharp teeth that can hurt you. Not to mention an exotic cat. So, like, did none of the lawyers just not think that, hey, this is a bad idea? I mean, their insurance had to be extremely high, but whatever. Okay, side rant done. Sorry, back to the thing. And of course, the sanctuary did admit that it was a misguided effort to aid captive conservation and animal welfare of privately owned animals. No shit. You think? Sorry, I just do not like that. The sanctuary was accredited by the Association of Sanctuaries in 1998, and its successor of the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries since 2007 to 2022. In September of 2000, Wildlife on Easy Street applied to the Association of Zoos and Aquariums for accreditation as a certified related facility. The application was actually denied in 2001 for various reasons that included concerns about the amount of visitors that came into contact with cats. No shit. Lack of trained zoological professionals on staff, which means that people weren't trained to actually deal with these animals, insufficient formal veterinarian programs, and unfinished perimeter fencing, which means that these animals were not properly contained. BCR ended physical encounters of any kind between cats housed there and the public in 2003, when they officially applied to be BCR. The rescue has been home to many different cats of all species, and their goal is to end ownership and trade of exotic felines in the private sector completely. Now, let me specify this as I don't mean like my Bengal. I mean like tigers, lynxes, bobcats, big cats, things like that. Big cat claims that permits are not effective at ensuring that the animal's welfare is safe, and campaigns for total end of private ownership of big cats, regardless of their habitats. I can actually get behind this. Just because you can own a tiger doesn't mean you should own a tiger. In fact, probably no one needs to legally own a tiger. The center is part of an international tiger coalition that wants to stop private ownership and trade of tiger and their parts. To me, I can get behind that. In 2005, BCR published an action plan to end all captive keeping of exotic animals, including animals in an AZA accredited zoos that are used for breed of conservation. I do not get behind that. Zoos actually take care of the animals. They ensure that the breed continues on, that it is not extinct. So I think that is stupid. According to the plan, Big Cat wanted interstate transport of big cats for any reason, including conservation breeding programs, to end by 2012. Obviously, they did not get that, as this is 2024 and it's still happening. They also wanted displays of large cats in zoos to end by 2013. Did not happen. And keeping of any exotic cat, including smaller species in zoos, to stop by 2025. That would include like bobcats, lynxes, panthers, and things like that. Or sorry, not 2015. That also has not happened. In 2015, BCR began to campaign for the passage of a bill in U.S. Congress called the Big Cat Public Safety Act that would ban all future keeping of large cat species in the zoos. With zoos certified by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, as well as certain sanctuaries, universities, wildlife rehabs, and traveling circuses being exempt. Okay, that's fine because all these people know how to take care of cats. In 2019, the act was revised to end cub handling. Okay, I get that. The primary cause of abuse, and phase out private ownership of big cats while allowing possession by the USDA licensees. The bill was actually passed and signed by President Biden in 2022. So that still allows all zoos and breeding conservation programs to continue to handle big cats. But you can't use the cubs. You can't take pictures with them. Nothing can happen. The cubs have to stay with the mamas. I think that's great. Big Cat Rescue also had a little bit of a celebrity. It was home to Skip. Skip called the center home in 2011. Skip was a bobcat that had been hit by a car on State Road 46 in Florida near Mount Dora. Skip had a crushed pelvis and came to call the rescue home. Skip actually created a huge following as people were able to follow his recovery via live stream and on Facebook on Big Cat Rescue. Fans donated to his recovery, and while Skip was made comfortable, he unfortunately did pass away due to injuries a year later in 2012. I remember seeing about Skip, and I hated to see that about Skip. The rescue has been home to many different species, including bobcats, Canadian lynx, caracoles, cougars, Eurasian lynx, jaguars, leopards, lions, ocelots, and tigers. And of course, the Florida panther. I've actually all called this rescue home. Now, the center is actually still in Tampa. That is where its headquarters are. But as of 2024, there is no animals there anymore. They moved the animals out of Florida. They have moved the animals to the Turpentine Creek Wildlife Rescue all the way out in Arkansas. And they did this for many reasons. They wanted to be able to send the animals to an area that isn't as crowded with development, because when Big Cat Rescue was founded, the area it was founded in Tampa was not developed. It was on the outskirts of Tampa. And if you've been to Florida or even Tampa in the past, I don't know, 5, 10 years, it's developed. Like, they probably have buildings all the way up to their perimeter now. And I'm sure that that caused stress on those animals. So they decided to find a new place for these animals. They also did things because they're shifting things around in the rescue. They also had cats that needed more care as they got older, and the facility was not set up to do that. Um, they did not have the means to help the animals as they got older, and they understood that. So they did this for the welfare of the animals. So they moved them all to Arkansas. So Big Cat Rescue is still in Tampa, and you can technically still visit it, but you will not get to see an animal. They don't have them there. They still take funding, and they send it straight to their cats in Arkansas. And the gift shop is still open. And you can still visit the Big Cat Rescue website to read about their conservation and check out the videos on YouTube of the cats being the cats. And you can still see the location in Tampa. I also think that, BCR does have a good thing at its point. I think that the idea behind it is fantastic. I think that cats need conservation. I think that we need to save certain breeds. I think that certain people shouldn't be allowed to handle certain breeds. But I think that Big Cat Rescue got a bad rap against its name, thanks to maybe a little bit of drama because of its founder, Carole Baskin. Now, who really is Carole Baskin? Well, of course, we all heard about her back in 2020. And I think we all think she killed her husband, right? Maybe? But who is she really? Well, Carole M. Baskin, formerly known as Carole Stairs or Carole Murdoch or Carole Lewis, whatever you know her as, was actually born on June 6, 1961 in Bexar County, Texas. So she's not a native Floridian, even though I'm sure she probably could claim Florida woman every now and then. She's always had a love for animals and only stopped pursuing veterinary medicine when she learned that vets have to euthanize animals. I can get behind that. That's why I didn't want to be a vet. I wouldn't be able to do it. I would cry every time. Carole actually had a hard life growing up. She eventually dropped out of high school, and she used to hitchhike between Florida and Maine and eventually ended up in Tampa. She began working at the age of 17 in a department store, and to make money on the side, she would breed show cats. She would also use llamas as a lawn trimming business. I mean, you got to give it to the lady. That's kind of inventive. She eventually married her second husband, Don Lewis, in January of 1991 and joined his real estate business. Don is the one that she started Wildlife on Easy Street with. They began this as an animal sanctuary, and they also bred 3 leopards and some smaller cats before realizing the harm it was actually doing to the animals. They stopped all breeding by 1997. And Baskin has remained the CEO of Big Cat Rescue and was named sole CEO after Don Lewis disappeared, also in 1997. Funny how that works. Now, Carole has had a lot of interesting stuff in her lifetime, especially relationships. She began to date Michael Murdoch, her boss at the department store in Tampa. She started dating him when she was 17, and she married him on April 7th. She married him on April 7th, 1979. She said that she never loved him, but she only married him because her parents were disappointed because they were already living together outside of marriage. I mean, okay, that's your decision, lady. She got pregnant quickly that same year in October of 1979 and had a daughter in July of 1980. Baskin and Murdoch had a very, very rough relationship. Sounds like it probably should never have happened. And had many fights, including one where she threw a potato at him because he tried to attack her. I mean, I guess you throw what you got. She ran out of the house barefoot and ended up meeting her second husband, Don Lewis, on Nebraska Avenue in Tampa. If you've been to Nebraska Avenue in Tampa, you probably have the same questions that I have. She and Don began an affair while they were both still married, and she became one of Don's many girlfriends and helped him grow his wealth by helping him in the real estate business. She and Don eventually both got divorces because they were both married when they started this affair and got married later in 1991. Baskin and Lewis seemed to already have a weird relationship from the start, and apparently it only got weirder. Carole claimed that Don was obsessed with sex and would frequently fly to Costa Rica, where he had a lot of properties, and would have other affairs. Well, like, you had an affair with him, and that's what started it. So why are you surprised he's doing it to you? Just had to ask that. In July of 1997, Lewis filed a restraining order against Baskin, stating that she threatened to kill him, but the order was later rejected due to not enough evidence. Mama, you good over there? Sorry, my Bengal decided he wanted to be loud. He did, that's his way of making himself known in the podcast. Sorry, guys. Back to Carole Baskin. It's just fitting that my little exotic wanted to be on the podcast. So yeah, the order was rejected due to not enough evidence. Baskin claims that he filed for this restraining order because she told him she was tired of the junk he was accumulating and was going to have it hauled off the next time he went to Costa Rica. I don't know that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But remember, this is one side of the story. We don't have the other side. But Lewis continued to live with Baskin even after the order was rejected. So Lewis told Baskin multiple times he wanted a divorce, but she never took him seriously. She also said he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder months before he vanished. So Lewis disappeared in August of 1997 and was legally declared dead in 2002. Now, a dispute happened between Baskin and Lewis's children over his estate, but Baskin was legally declared the beneficiary. Lewis's family still finds his disappearance very strange because he seemed okay to them, but she's the only one that claimed he had issues. But not to be outdone, while Baskin was on Dancing with the Stars in 2020, Lewis's family ran a TV ad in the Florida markets asking for help in the case and offering a $100,000 reward for information. I think that's great of his family. Like, hey, she's here. Let's bring attention to it. Use it if you got it. Carole eventually met Howard Baskin in November of 2002 at a kickoff party for the newly formed No More Homeless Pets organization. Howard eventually joined Big Cat Rescue soon after as a chairman of the advisory board, and later proposed to Carole in November of 2003 as they married a year later. Carole, not to be outdone to get any more weirder or have any more drama named to her, came out as bisexual in October of 2020. Right. Okay. You do you. That's fine. But okay. Carole honestly probably has done great work in rescuing large cats and helping to keep them protected. But sadly, she is probably more well known for her feud with Joe Exotic. That's right, the Tiger King himself. That we all know about thanks to Netflix and that horrible train wreck that we couldn't stop watching back in 2020. Baskin actually has had a really long-running feud with Joe Exotic. And you learned about it in the same Netflix docuseries. Are we calling it a documentary? I don't know. Joe is actually the former owner of Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park in I'm going to say Wynwood, might be Winewood, Oklahoma. And the feud actually started as far back as 2009 when Big Cat Rescue initiated a protest campaign via email against shopping malls that were hosting Exotic's traveling cub petting shows that actually prompted many malls to cancel his shows. Well, Joe Exotic got upset because he lost a lot of income because of this campaign. So he started to harass Carole Baskin and Big Cat Rescue. I get that. That was his way of making money. Granted, it probably wasn't the right way. He even went as far as to rebrand his show with unlicensed he started using fake versions of the BCR name and logo and fake Florida phone numbers to throw people off. So when they would call to complain, it was fake. Baskin actually took legal action against Joe Exotic to the point of trademark infringement and damaging her reputation as well as the reputation of the organization. She actually won, and he was ordered to pay her $1 million in 2013. He didn't have it, and that's what led to his bankruptcy. Exotic was eventually convicted of attempting to hire a hitman to kill Baskin and is currently in jail here in Florida. Because why wouldn't he be? Of course, Baskin was featured on the Netflix show Tiger King. She was actually told that it would be a big cat version of Blackfish to help stop cub abuse. But we all know it wasn't. We know it was a train wreck that we couldn't stop watching. She was also told that Exotic and the disappearance of her husband, Don Lewis, would not be the focus of the show. It was. We know it was. Baskin was forced to defend herself against cyberbullying after the show came out, after several claims were made by zookeepers and Exotic himself towards her and her character. I don't know. I mean, it's not like Baskin looks innocent in all this. I'm just going to say that. Baskin eventually kind of won, though, because she was given Exotic's former zoo property as a way to pay the $1 million after the trademark judgment. She received the property in 2020, same time as the Netflix show came out. The zoo relocated their large cats, but because of poor animal care that they were already received, they were eventually seized due to poor animal care. So eventually the animals did find better homes. Baskin does continue to run Big Cat Rescue in Tampa and does continue to work to stop breeding and showing of large cats. She is very passionate about her work. And of course, I feel that she probably has done some good for large cats. She did stop cub handling, which is great. But I think it's unfortunately been overshadowed by her personal drama. And of course, in the court of public opinion, most of us found her guilty. Sadly, that's just the way life goes sometimes for some people. If you do still want to go or learn about Big Cat Rescue, like I said, their stuff is still up. You can still see it active in Tampa. You can still see about their tigers in Arkansas. I went and looked at the website. I mean, it looks like a nice place. It looks really cool. I think it's great that they are still caring for the large animals. I don't think that people should own tigers. I really don't. Or lions. Why do you need a tiger or a lion? Genuinely, really. Like, that is just that's not okay. But that was something that I really found interesting about Florida, was that this Big Cat Rescue. Of course, I watched the documentary, and it was just such a train wreck, and I just couldn't look away. And so I wanted to do my own research, and I wanted to figure out who Carole Baskin really was. Like, we all know what she said on the documentary, and we all know who Joe Exotic said she was, but who was she really? And I think deep down at the end of the day, she is a person that had a passion and she went for it. And I think that we can commend her on that. Did she kill her husband? Who knows? You know, maybe he is in Costa Rica living out his fantasies or something. Who knows? But at the end of the day, the Tiger King is locked up in Florida. Carole Baskin still runs Big Cat Rescue. Florida man is still roaming around out there somewhere. And we just need to be nice to one another. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to check out the social media. If you have a second, I really would appreciate a 5-star on Spotify, a 5-star on Apple, just to kind of keep the podcast out there to other people, guys. Don't forget to check out Unfiltered Studios. There's some amazing podcasters on there doing some amazing things, guys. Thanks for listening this week. Don't forget to drink your water, wear your sunscreen. And as always, guys, that's your daily dose of sunshine.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.